Hello, my name is Regie Gibson, and it is indeed a pleasure to be asked again to join forces with Evermore. Evermore is a very important organization that attends to people who are suffering through personal grief. And it is an organization that I wished I'd have had when my father passed. There are multiple forms of grief. And on this day, where we acknowledge and celebrate the sacrifice and the mission of Martin Luther King, I think it's important to say that I think our nation has been suffering through grief for quite some time now. In this piece that I am going to present to you, which is on democracy and citizenship, is born out of my contemplation of both those things, democracy and citizenship, and how to some degree I still feel that we are in grief, dealing with democracy and citizenship in this country and the state we find it in. And it's not just this time in our history, but it has been something that we've dealt with for quite some time. I'll begin my poem with a quote from Walt Whitman from his Democratic Vistas, which was published in 1871. And he says, "I cannot too often repeat that democracy is a word, the real gist of which still sleeps quite unawakened. It is a great word, whose history, I suppose, remains unwritten, because that history has yet to be enacted." In this story, truth is a joke and democracy a punchline. In this story, our leaders' mouths are so often dangerous. They wound us, gangrenous, diseasing us, dumbing us, numbing us into ethical hypnosis and civic sleep. In this story, we keep our ears budded so we can say we did not hear the shrill call of blood and soil, did not hear the rising howl of Jews will not replace us. In this story, we keep our heads down and swear we did not see tiki torches Naziing the night, did not see the police putting holes into those black boys. This is the story in which we continue to other each other, scapegoat one another for our generational failings. This is the story where Congress is Robin Hood gone wrong, redirecting billions that could have helped the ragged to give to the already rich. In this story, many of us play the oblivious, the ignorant one that ignores, who, at this point in the story, begin thumbing screens for distraction and turning the music up to the maximum, pretending not to hear the darkness growling. Yes, sisters and brothers, citizens, this story is seductive. It does not always yell at us. No, it sometimes whispers in the secret recesses of our minds, saying, "Come, tell me of your prejudices, and I will darken. Come, let my arms harbor, embrace your harms, and I will darken. Come, let me turn those harms into howl, foul you into a whirlwind of machete and bullet, and I will darken." And it whispers, whispers until we barely notice how it lives inside us, how it divides us, how it drives us to reduce each other to these thin, stereotyped scrims of race, religion, politics, gender. And sometimes, when someone shows us a mirror, we see our contorted faces, catch ourselves swaying in the swelling spell of it, and become ashamed and are tempted to run in fear of our own ugly. But we must not run, for we have done that before. For this story is not new. We have lived it before. And we know there has always been and may always be this darkness in our country. This darkness that has kept us from seeing who we could become. But also, there has always been those who would look into that darkness, cling to each other, and muster the courage to stand against it and even dare to speak light. There has always been those who refuse to play the oblivious, the one that ignores. Yes, there are always those who would rewrite themselves as new narrative, new character, and become she who sees and rises up. He that voices the better angels of our nature, they that demand our body politic move toward a more perfect union by fighting the viruses of our worst isms, our sexism, racism, ageism, colorism, culturalism, reductionism, fascism. Those who demand that our nation embraces its better isms, egalitarianism, altruism, volunteerism, humanism, and even demand we create and coin other isms, like you have the right to remain black and unshot ism. You have the right to not be sexually assaulted or harassed ism. You have the right to exist and to thrive ism. You have the right to have your voice heard ism. You have the right to have your vote counted ism. I will stop turning my back on your pain ism. I will stand up for the human rights of another ism. Yes, we have always had and will always need those who, like you, work little by little to heal this too wounded nation with a democratized form of love, which demands of us a positive new patriotism. A patriotism you cannot easily stitch into clothing and make into a slogan. One that goes beyond "I love America," but one that says, "I love Americans." A patriotism demanding we help all Americans who have fallen to stand. A patriotism that means caring enough to make sure a child's hunger goes away so she can sleep at night. A patriotism that knows its right to ensure all can afford higher education, knows that a great nation must enrich each citizen intellectually, for to do so effectively raises its people's collective capacity to think and consider critically so that its democracy doesn't fall prey to a clownish and perverted brown-shirted insanity and to a hypnotic and demagogic inanity. A patriotism that is deeper than ham-fisted swagger, deeper than bullying buster or surface flag waving, but a patriotism that is a lived civic virtue, demands accountability, demands integrity, is ethically behaving. A patriotism demanding its leaders' allegiance to its nation's people by full-throatedly saying and actively displaying that every American is well worth the effort of saving. And at times like this, on days like this, you can feel it, sense it, that vague, atmospheric, nascent flickering of true and active citizenship. Sometimes glance at like the humped backs of dolphins breaking above the ocean of the civically possible. And hear it through the din and clatter of the media noise machine. Hear it whispering from the sunlit corners of your mind, asking us all to wield our social sword and shield and pledge our civic word and will to build and maintain a true republic, a res publica within which we all can heal. Listen to that voice. It is the one that calls to us. Remember it as we write the new narrative of inclusion, a narrative in which we embrace self-reflection and introspection, embrace our discomfort for equity and deeper connection, so we can honestly listen and open to each other's different perspectives and learn to engage beyond our own political rage so we can practice true democracy. A new narrative for a new world in which we break down these walls between us so we can hold hands, heal each other of these broken legs we've all learned to limp with, and finally move forward together, step by trembling step, into that welcoming, eye-aching light, into an America that reflects and shines with the best truth of who we know we are, what our country can be: expansive, accepting, beautiful, and bright. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for engaging on this day. My name is Regie Gibson, and it is just a wonderful, wonderful privilege to be in citizenship with you and to also be in solidarity with Evermore.